Wake up, child.
The dreams are getting more intense. I must be close. Let's just get this over with. Whoa, I forgot how creepy this place was. Hello again, Shadow Man.
Hello there, child, and welcome back. I've been expecting you, so tell me, what brings you back to the Shadow Man today?
I need a wand, and you're the only person that I know of that might have one.
A wand, you say? You mean one like this?
Yes, just like that.
Well, I could give you this one, but it would be useless for you.
Why?
A wand, you see, must share the same energy, the same vibration of its master. A wand must be created.
So you can't help me?
Well, I didn't say that.
So what are you saying?
What I'm saying is, I can show you how to make one. So if you'd like to see how we do it this week, stick around, because we're about to go wild with it. All right, everyone, so today we're making wizarding wands. That's right, wizarding wands. And this is something that I actually jumped into about 10 years ago. My nephew was super into Harry Potter at the time. He loved the whole magic thing, and his birthday was coming up. So my wife and I were actually looking into getting him a wand for his birthday. But we looked around and all the wands were the same, cookie cutter, junky looking. Nothing was cool about them. They were just super crappy and expensive at that. So I figured, you know what? I'm creative enough. I can try to go ahead and give this a go and see what I can do. So I made him a couple wands, gave it to him for his birthday, and he absolutely loved them. So because of that, I said, you know what, I could probably make these and sell them, which I did. And I've sold them for years. I've sold them in sets. I've had people come and buy them for their cosplay costumes or use them on their movies, their mini movie sets. So I thought it'd be a perfect opportunity to go ahead and share this technique with you. Now for this, I'm going to show you two different techniques. We're going to go over a regular hot glue wand, and then we're going to do some carving. So if you want to do a little more intricate work, you can do that as well. But what you're going to need is I have these 3/8 of an inch wooden dowels, and I got these at Walmart. They're like $2 for a pack of 10. You're going to need obviously your hot glue sticks and your glue gun, and then some acrylic paint and some paint brushes, just to get the overall look. And we'll go over all the steps in here so you can get them really looking good. You're also going to need some sandpaper, and if you're lucky enough to have a Dremel with a sanding drum or a carbon bit would be perfect. And also, I got some of these branches just off the sycamore tree in the backyard there, just to give a more organic look if you want to do something like this, because not all the wands are straightforward. So I'm going to show you some basic Harry Potter wands that you can do. We'll do the Elder Wand today. We're going to do Harry's wand. And then we're going to start doing a little bit of carving and kind of do our own custom design as well. So you guys will be able to make your own cool wands at home and not just the cookie cutter stuff you see in the stores. So this is going to be a really cool and easy build for you guys. You can use these for your Halloween costumes, for your cosplay costumes. You can use them for your mini movies or whatever you'd like. Pass them out at kids' parties. They're awesome for anything. So if you guys are ready to do this, let's go wild. So to start off our wands, what I'm going to be doing is carving away some of this. You can see how this is real flat on the top and it doesn't look natural. You want something that looks natural. So you can sit there and whittle this away with like a utility knife if you want to do that, and that works fine. But if you got the tools, why not use the tools, right? So I have a glove on this hand here that I'm holding the wood with just in case this slips and I'll nick myself, because I've done that too many times and it's not fun. So I'm just going to start off by rounding and kind of giving this a little point on the Harry Potter wand. So here we go. All right, so as you can see, just from that little bit of work there, I'm trying to make this more organic. Now, I'm not too worried about the end here where the handle is going to be, because that's going to be covered with hot glue, and we'll make the, it looks like a tree bark type of deal on the Harry Potter wand. So I'm just trying to make this a little more organic looking. We're going to go back and sand this with some sandpaper just to smooth all this out. But that's just the preliminary part of the Harry Potter wand. Now, for the Dumbledore wand or the Elder wand, it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to thin this out a little bit, kind of like I did the Harry wand. But other than that, it's going to be pretty ready to go. So we'll thin this out a little bit at the tip. So I'm using this bottom edge because I have a flat edge on this burr here to kind of dig into this. And it gives me a little bit of like a raised wood grain. It's kind of hard to see here. I'll see if I can get a detailed closer shot in a second here, but just to thin that out, make it a little more organic so it's not so perfect. And then we'll get to the hot glue. Okay, so for Harry's wand, as you can see, it's all sanded up. I went ahead and sanded it with 220 grit sandpaper just to smooth everything out. And then right where the handle is, if you look at Harry Potter's wand, it's just, it looks like a broken branch almost. So what I'm gonna do is just fill in this entire area with hot glue. All right, so we got the overall shape of it looking good. So now I'm gonna take the smaller glue gun because it has a smaller tip on there. And I'm gonna lightly press the trigger and go up in an up and down motion to create like a bark effect. So if you do this correctly, I don't know if you guys can be able to see this on camera, but if you do it correctly, you'll get like this nice little bark effect. And then also too, I can make knots as well just by light pressure, circling, and then kind of coming up to create small beads to give it that bark effect all the way through. Now you can't see it too much here in the gluing process on camera, but when you see the paint job, you'll be able to see all those little details you put in. So the more work you're doing in the gluing stage, the better your overall wand will look at the end. Okay, for the Elder wand, what I'm going to be doing is taking this bead here, I'm going to glue it to the end, because if you look at Dumbledore's wand, he's got like almost like acorns or something like that on there. So, and the one at the very end is pretty good size. Now I'm going to go over this with glue just to continue on here and give it a little more size. But this is a good starting point, because when you're working with the hot glue, it drips quickly, and if you don't have a little base to start off with, it's gonna make it difficult for you. So just adding this little acorn at the top is really gonna help out. Okay, so these acorns here, they get smaller as they go down to the tip of the wand. So this first one, you're just gonna put even pressure and spin your wand as you're gluing. Now this is gonna have a tendency to drip on you, and that's okay. Just make sure you're not working over a surface that's gonna get damaged. But I'm just lightly pulling the trigger and then spinning this because I wanna keep it relatively the same width all the way around. And again, you can either use a fan to cool this down, or you can go ahead and just blow on it as you spin. But once this dries, we'll do another layer and keep adding as needed. And and then we're going to make these all the way down the shaft of this wand here. All right, so now that we got all those little acorn deals done, the next thing I'm going to do is take this smaller glue gun because it's got that smaller tip, and I'm not going to press any glue. I'm just going to press the hot metal into this these glue pieces here, and that's going to give me that texture. Once I'm done with this and painted, that's going to have that same effect as the actual elder wand. So I'm just taking the hot tip and pressing it into these little acorn balls I made, and it's going to give me that texture. Now let me stop this so you can kind of see a little bit more. Hopefully you guys can see that there. There we go. And that gives me that texture. So when I go to paint this, I'm going to dry brush this, and you're going to see all that detail in there. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing to each one of these. And then also, so I can show you guys here, is if I take the glue gun and I just squeeze just a little bit, very lightly, and then run my glue gun back and forth, and I'm basically wiping the glue as I go, it's going to give me this bark effect in between, so it looks like it came from an actual tree. And again, if you look closely, you're going to see that detail in there, so that's going to really sell this at the end. So I'm going to do this the entire wand, and the elder one's going to be pretty much finished with the glue. Right, and here is a little detailed shot of the elder wand. As you can see, there's a lot of detail in this, and it's super easy, really quick. And that's how that one looks. And then the Harry Potter one here, just a little bit closer. Hopefully you can see some of that bark there. But you don't have to do much work to get the look. Now I have one more wand I'm going to show you guys. And this is just kind of to do your own thing. I gave it a little bit of a swirl effect with the carving. Nothing really detailed though, and then pointing the tip. And then I got these gems here. And these are like, I don't know, a pack of like 25, 30 for $2 or something like at the local dollar store. What I'm going to do is glue this to the tip of my wand here. Press that in place. All I'm doing to create that twisted effect is I'm going to start with my glue gun here. I'll put pressure and I'll spin the actual wand itself as I go down. Trying to keep it as even as possible with pressure and distance. And then I'll go back up to the beginning and kind of go right next to that first initial bead I did, and then do a secondary bead. All right, now that we have our hot glue wands done, I'm going to go ahead and do one of these carved wands. And I just took one of my organic branches, I carved it down at the tip here, and then I just added a little design. Now this is going to be somewhat of a snake design, and I colored the parts I want to carve. It's going to get a little confusing. Okay, so I went through the carving process and removed all that grain I showed you, and you can see how it's turning out. I just did like a coiled design all the way down, and then created that little snake tail at the end here. So now I'm just going to go back over it, maybe do a little crisscrossing design for the diamond shape, like scales. And then this guy will be done, and then we'll get right over to the paint. Okay, so now that we have our wands all done as far as the gluing stage, we're going to go ahead and do our paint job. Now, I want to keep in mind what wands I'm working with and the colors I'm using. So for the Elder Wand, I'm going to start off with a tan base. So we'll base paint it with tan. And when you're doing the base color, you want to make sure you get a really good coverage and that it dries thoroughly before you go on to the next step. Okay, so we have our base coat done on this Elder Wand, and you want to make sure that that base coat is fully dry before you start on the next step. Just because that's going to be your first layer, and you don't want to see any of that hot glue. But now that we got this dry, I'm going to go in with a deeper brown and start painting these acorn deals. And I want to make sure I get into all those grooves that we did earlier. That way when I go back to dry brush it, you're going to really see the detail pop out. All right, so now we're going to do the dry brushing on the acorn so you can start to see that detail. And again, very, very little paint, very little pressure, and you're just kind of brushing along. See all that work that we did come out. Once this is dry, I'll go back in with a dry brush to really bring out all that grain in the wood that we created. But the paint job is the most important part really when it comes to these wands, because you really want to sell that look to make it look authentic and real and not like hot glue. Here is your wand, child.
How will I know if it works for me?
There will be a sign, and you will know.
Thank you, Shadow Man.
Good luck on your journey, child, and I will see you next time. Alright everyone, this brings us to the conclusion of our video today. I hope you enjoyed our hot glue wand project as well as the mini movie. If you did, write me down in the comment section below. Make sure you leave this video a thumbs up while you're there. And stick around for our next video because we're gonna be making a life-size Frankenstein prop that will be out of this world. But until next time, keep building things, stay creative, and don't forget to go wild with it. I'm Geoff from Cavalier Creations, and I'll see you on the other side. A wand must match the energy, the vibration of its master.
So you can't help me?
I wasn't done with the line yet. I could give you this one, but you took it from my line. Okay, from the top. Bitch. I haven't brushed my teeth in a while, can you tell? Sick, isn't it? Disgusting, right? The breath, sickening.